A very good morning to you, Karibu Sana, and this is Money Monday, your go-to show for financial tips and strategies on how you can become a great entrepreneur and for the day-to-day people, help you become that is financially independent in the future. My name is Angela Kabete, Karibu Sana, and on today's edition of Money Monday, we're tackling something that I'm sure somewhere imekuguza, that in either work, finances, lifestyle, and everything. That is debt, and that is our topic ni understanding debt, identity, and freedom. How are these things connected? And ukiangalia, that is statistics. They show people are borrowing more than ever. And according to statistics, they say when debt grows faster than income, it can pressure borrowers, stress about meeting payments, fear of default, and anxiety about financial stability. And this intertwines debt with how people view themselves as in control or stuck, and shaping their identity. And according to the numbers or the figures that are given, that is from the statistics and the research, they give us figures, and that says that global total debt across government, businesses, and households stay very high, above 235%. That is quite a lot. You can agree with me that is a lot for the whole of the year 2025. Of global GDP in GDP, that is gross domestic product, in the year 2024-2025. This means the world owes more than twice of what it can produce in an year as measured by economic output. This is a lot. And when it comes to that is the public versus the private debt. The public debt made up nearly, that is 93% of the global, that is GDP, while private debt, now that is households, the corporate, and the people who borrow, was below 143% of the GDP as of, that is 2025. You can agree with me, this is a lot. So when you sit down and analyze yourself, why are you falling? That to 35%, yako ni ngapi, as they did the survey and everything. Why are you falling, and why do we end up into debts each and every day? What could be the problem? Is it that we have a problem with finance management? Could it be because of the pressure? Could it be because the economy is tough, as people are saying, maisha ni ngumu kunje? What could be the problem? And that is what we'll be tackling today. And that's why today in studio I'm joined with a guest full of wealth experience when it comes to the world of finances, and he's also a financial consultant. His name is CPA Kitur, working with us, that is Born and Drew Associates. So without further ado, let me welcome him to the show. Get ready to learn. So make sure that you have a pen and a book. A very good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Angela, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, first of all, I want to appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you.
And I also want to appreciate the TV for the good work you are doing in terms of financial management. This Money Monday is impacting our lives.
Yeah.
Because financial management is a key aspect in life. Managing your finances, managing your debt, and every aspect of financial management as we do our daily activities.
Yeah. In the Karibu Sana, we are ready to learn. I know you have a lot for us, and literally today we're talking about this interesting topic, matters to do with debt management, and how debt, and we get to understand how debt gets to influence our identity and freedom as day-to-day people in the corporate society and the businesses. And in simple terms, because kila mtu akona debt, kila mtu akisikia debt, many people wanajua debt madeni. How would you define debt when it comes to the financial aspect?
Yeah, thank you, Angela. Basically, debt, I can simply say owings to others, and these others could be individuals or institutions or even to governments. Because we have owings by individuals, even owings by government, or even owings by individuals to others, which arises as a result of it could be formal agreements or informal agreements. A situation where you borrow, let's say, your stock, if you are dealing with, let's say, a doka, a shop, you are buying and selling. money, so you buy stock on credit, then that becomes a debt. Or you get a loan from a financial institution, that is a debt. Or you get a loan from a friend that you have to repay back at the end of a period, that is still a debt. So when we say debt, that is basically owings to others or institutions. And then now there is this aspect of debt management. Debt management is now the entire space of debt, where now you are managing your debt. You want to control in terms of when are you getting financial probably loans from institutions, individual. If let's say you want to calculate the interest rate, because in the debt we have the component of the debt itself, the principal amount that you borrowed, and now the finance costs, interest charged on that debt. So you may say, let me borrow from this institution because the rate of interest being charged is, let's say, 3% as compared to another one which is 5% or even 10%, 20%. And then now the aspect of looking at for how long are you able to repay this amount? Is it a period of 1 year? Is it a period of 10 years, 5 years, and all those? That basically is the entire space of debt management. You want to control how, when, and how you are repaying. Yeah.
Well, I love the way you have defined it. And one thing that I've got from that, it means that number one, debt is manageable if you get to work on it. And now let's talk about that is debt and mindset. Many people think debt is a money issue, but from your experience or expertise when it comes to the world of finance, how much of debt is actually a mindset issue?
When you look at that aspect of mindset, you can go down to issues to do with influence from others.
Okay.
Like you may be influenced to borrow because of opportunities which are there to borrow. Assuming, Angela, you got a message that now you are able to, if you have been using, let's say, for lease, assuming your limit was, let's say, 5,000.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden in the morning you get a message that you have to receive, your limit has been pushed for to, let's say, 20,000. That is at 15,000 now extra which you can borrow. So if it reaches an extent, you go ahead and borrowing. Then even without the plan, then it means there is a minor issues in terms. It could be even social pressure as a result of what others are doing. Sometimes you may find yourself, let's say, I remember somebody in a matatu saying I saw somebody having a very expensive phone, and I took steps to get a phone of that nature.
You did that?
No, not me. Yes, I overheard somewhere in there. Somebody who was talking about issues to do with that managing his debt. So that becomes an issue like emotional or even social aspect that has given you a pressure to borrow when you are not supposed to borrow. Moving backwards to now, when we were talking about the debt management, you are looking at when to borrow, how to borrow, where to borrow. So this is a situation where you have been influenced, probably even by the environment you are. Now you are borrowing even without plan. You don't know even what you will do with that amount. The police limit has been increased from 5,000 to 15,000 to 20,000. Now you go ahead and borrow the 15,000.
Even if you don't need it, only because the limit imeongezewa mpaka to 20,000. Okay, and now if that is the case, then I want you to help people, me and my viewers. How will you know that you're borrowing out of necessity? The difference between borrowing out of necessity and borrowing out of emotions.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. When you have that aspect of managing your debt, also you are looking at when to borrow, where to borrow, how to borrow, and what you will use the funds that you have borrowed. Now that distinguishes between you borrowing for the purpose of getting money to propel you in doing something, or it's just out of emotions, and that takes us down to differentiating between a bad and a good debt. You know, when we say debt, entirely it's not bad debt. Debt is not bad. If you are running at, let's say, a retail shop, and you're in a position to borrow goods on credit, that's assuming just a simple one, Angela, where somebody is buying and selling milk. So you are selling, let's say, 30 liters of milk in a day. You don't have the capital, but you have an opportunity. There is a farmer, you can get the 30 liters of milk in the morning, you sell, in the evening, you repay that amount, and the remaining now becomes your profit. Then that is a good, that is a good debt. But a situation now where you are borrowing, probably even to buy a gadget that you want to, you know, people have different personalities. We have people who may want to show off items that they have, or even you may see somebody having a phone which is more sophisticated than the phone you have. You feel, some may feel, easy as a shindwa.
I think that is what is happening. You go through your social media, you go through your Instagram, you go through your TikTok, and unaona mtu ako na simu kubwa, someone owes that his iPhone 17, only because of the pressure. You go and get a loan, and then you get to buy the phone.
Exactly. Yeah. That now, when I was talking about that debt management, you know, debt can propel you to move to the next level, especially if we are dealing with the business, buying and selling of items, or even providing services, like even for the government doing projects which are being used, and later on revenues can be generated, then you are repaying. Angela, assuming you are running a business and you have an opportunity of let's say increasing your stock, or even you are operating capital, let's say by 5 million, and you have an opportunity to borrow that 5 million, let's say from a financial institution, and you borrow, and it propels you to the next level, then that it means that debt has really assisted you. And sometimes they say, especially in business aspect, where when we talk of a code debt, a code debt is basically a debt that will result in you having more incomes, or even buying an asset whose value will increase within a period. Say that if you borrow, let's say 5 million, and that the finance cost is, let's say 800,000, meaning the total amount you will repay is 5.8 million. But you have invested that amount in an income generating project or business. Now you are in a position, remember the finance cost is 800,000, but the profits you are generated out of that project that you have initiated, let's say is 1.8, let's say even 1.3 million. So that 1.3 million is the profit. So when you repay the 5 million plus now the interest of 800,000, so the finance cost is 800,000, but you have generated an income of, let's say, 1.3 million. So it means you have made a profit of around 500,000. I was looking at statistics elsewhere, issues to do with mortgage, which was there some years before. You borrow an amount of, let's say, 5 million over a period of 20 years at a rate of it was a rate of 18%. At the end of the 20 years, the total amount, remember you borrowed 5 million to construct a house, or even to purchase an house whose value plus value of the house and the property and the land in which the house sits on is 5 million. Then you are repaying that 5 million plus the interest over a period of 20 years. The total amount you will have repaid after 20 years, based on that amount of 18%, it comes to 19 million.
That's a lot.
19 million. So here you borrowed 5 million, so you have a structure whose value is 5 million as at the time in which you acquired, but the total amount you will have repaid after the 20 years is 19 million. It means now there is an extra of around 14 million. That 14 million, imagine, Angela, is just an interest cost. So that now comes down to which debt, when can I borrow, and where can I borrow, and how can I borrow. Because we have instances where you can borrow even at a rate, let's say 5%. You do a business, total amount, the rate of the profit you will have earn, or return on investment that you have done at the end of let's say a period, let's say 5 years, when you are repaying that loan, is, let's say 15%, let's say 12%. Then it means that debt has propelled you to move to the next level.
So it means that the shorter to some of the loans or the places that you get these loans, the shorter the period, the lower the interest, and the longer the period, the higher the interest. So are you advising that people and the day-to-day people and the entrepreneurs should go for the short-term debts?
Not as such, Angela, because I was just giving you that mortgage aspect at the rate of 18% over a period of about 20 years. Remember, you want to have you want to move to the next level out of the debt that you have borrowed, especially in the aspect of business and whatever. So you are borrowing. You know it's possible you borrow that 5 million and you are repaying over a period of let's say 20 years. The total amount you will have repaid is let's say 19 million. But out of that you have generated an income which is more than 19 million. You know that is a plus. So
it's about what you're using to do with that money.
So when we look at the aspect of even short term, medium term and long term, at the end of the day we are looking at the interest over a period of let's say a year. Because you can borrow for 1 month, you can have a borrowing where you are borrowing at a rate of let's say 5%, and the amount is repayable within a month. Somebody may say this is in the MPESA your interest is your kubo, but you are looking at let's say 100,000 and you are borrowing for a period of 1 month and you are repaying plus an interest of 5%. You know at the end of that one month you will have repaid 100,000 plus 5%, out of which is 5,000. So if you are to borrow for the whole year, then it means at the end of the year you will have borrowed 5% multiplied by 12, which is 60% of the amount that you borrowed. So irrespective of the rate at which you are borrowing, that is why we are talking about debt which is good. You can still borrow even at a higher rate, but the return which comes out of the amount that you have borrowed, is it higher than what you are repaying? So it could also be you are borrowing at a lesser rate, but you are not generating revenues out of that. Then at the end it will have given you a negative investment. So Angela, to a certain extent, when we say good debt or bad debt, is basically a debt which propels you to the next level in terms of income being increased, or even a return being enhanced, or even an asset being enhanced. That is a good debt. But any debt that moves you backwards, because you are borrowing let's say 100,000, you are repaying back at 1 or 5,000, and when you look at what you have done with that 100,000, basically it's not now mostly on the issues like consumption debt, where you are buying to consume, like even purchasing the gadgets. Then those are the debts which moves you backward. Because if you are to borrow let's say every now and then to purchase, now you are purchasing the latest phone, the next time you are buying a car at the house and the like, consumption. But again, the house, you look at the aspect of because you can borrow, Angela, you can borrow in such a way you are purchasing a house. When you look at the interest rate that you have incurred as a result of borrowing that amount to let's say to acquire a house or even to construct a house, is less than the rent you would have paid. And we say less than the rent you would have paid. You would have paid 20,000, but you end up paying an interest of let's say 5,000 in a month. You know that is a debt that has propelled you, because you have saved a lot as a result of that. So that now distinguishes between a good and a bad debt. So if debt is good, which propels you to the next level in terms of even enhanced profitability of the business and the like, you know, somebody may be earning an income, maybe let's say salaried person, just assuming a salaried person. You can even use let's say a teacher under TSC through a circle. He or she has borrowed, constructed just assuming a simple one, just as an example, constructed rental properties, and those rental properties generating, you are repaying, let's say, on a monthly basis, let's say 20,000 as loan, which the loan which you borrowed for the purpose of doing that construction. When you do the calculation, you find the amount you are repaying is much less than the amount you are earning. Okay, you know, that is to say, Angela, it means now that your salary remains at the level in which you are receiving, and the house or the properties are now repaying at themselves. That is a debt that will propel you.
All right, so let's go for a short break. And for viewers, now I want you to, for this short break, and ask yourself, are you having that is good debt for the whole of last year 2025? Did you have that is good debt or bad debt? To remember that is, if debt is not propelling you, then it's okay to call that debt a bad debt. If you have been taking a debt so that you can sustain your life, so that you can purchase a phone, so that you can do things that are not propelling you, we can call that a bad debt. So tell us, what is that one thing that has stood out for you on this conversation? Get to talk to us on 0799 200 100, and we'll be so glad to hear from you. Stay tuned, right back after the short break. Very good morning to you and welcome back. This is Money Monday, your go-to show for financial tips and strategies on how you can become a great entrepreneur. And for the day-to-day people, will help you become that is financially independent in the future. If you've tuned in right now, today we're talking about that is debt management and understanding how debt gets to influence your identity and freedom as well as a day-to-day person. For the first segment, our guest helped us understand that is the difference between a good debt and a bad debt. And I would say what stood out for me, if a debt is not propelling you to going to a greater place, you know, that is a bad debt. If that phone that you're purchasing, you know, kwa hiyo pesa yenye ulichukua nayo madeni, well, that is not a good debt. It is a bad debt. Now analyze yourself. The things that you are purchasing through loans and debts and everything, have they been propelling you? That is forward Amazon Nakurusha nyuma. Well, tafakari hayo. And on this session, I'm back with my guest. His name is CPA Peter Kitur, working with that is Born and Drew Associates. Welcome back, sir. And I really love the way you help us understand that is the difference between a good debt and bad debt in the first segment. And now on this section, this second section, let's talk about that is the debt cycle, and probably you can help us understand why do many people find themselves borrowing to repay other loans. You know, unaomba deni, unalipa deni ingine. What could be the problem? Do they have a problem?
I was smiled when you mentioned that, Angela. You know, you are borrowing for the purpose of repaying another.
Yeah.
And you know, at times that is not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Why? It sounds bad on my end.
At times that is also bad of debt management. Assuming you had borrowed a loan and the interest rate was, let's say, 15%, that's assuming. So you go ahead repaying that. Then here is an opportunity to get a loan where the interest rate is, let's say, 5%. You know, you can borrow this loan at a rate of 5%, then you repay the other one. And you know, when you repay, additional interest cannot be charged. Rebate of interest, they call it rebate of interest. So if you are to, assuming you have repaid, you had borrowed, let's say, 5 million, and you repay that amount, let's say, up to a balance of, let's say, 3 million. And remember, that 3 million, there is an interest rate of, let's say, 15%. Then here is an opportunity, you can borrow at 5%. So what you can do, you borrow this new one, which is at the rate of, let's say, 5%, which is 3 million. Then you repay the other one at the rate where the interest was a rate of 15%. So you repay that one. Then now you continue repaying this one.
But with the aspect of financial freedom, why should I live in debt, you know, as a day-to-day person?
As a day. So, but first of all, you have understood the concept, where now in fact, by now you are paying at a rate of 5% as opposed to 15%. It means your finance cost is now less. And remember, when we are doing a profit and loss, you want to determine whether your business has made profit or loss. You know the component that you are using to determine the profit or loss, which is an expense, is the interest, not the principal amount. So here you are repaying. You had a finance cost at the rate of 15%, but now you are repaying now at the rate of 5%. Then it means the finance cost, the expense component, is now less, and you are making more profits than when you are making. But now on the other side, Angela, it's still possible you find somebody borrowing out of just the component of debt management and even the entire space of financial management. Debt management is in the space of financial management where you are managing your finances. There is the component of cash flow management, budgeting, and all those issues. So you want to manage your cash flow. Failure to which now it teaches a situation where you now have to borrow. Was probably your inflows are less than the outflows, and that at times now there is that aspect of living beyond our means. You are living beyond what you are earning. You are forced now to borrow to sustain what you are consuming or whatever. So it brings you to the component of cash flow management, budgeting. Those ones you have identified what you want to do with whatever space you are doing. If it's a business, you are running a business where your income are being generated. So you borrow, then you determine how much are you. First of all, you determine how much you are borrowing, and then you are repaying for a certain period of time. Then the finance cost that you have incurred and the effect on the profit that you are making.
Wow, from what you said, now that circles us back to the first section where you talk about that is how to borrow, when to borrow, and why. Now, can you help us answer those three things? Why and when to borrow?
Yeah.
What are the determinants?
The component of financial management and the component of budgeting, the component of cash flow management. Here you are running. It could be you as an individual. You are working, and you have expenses related to the engagement that you are doing. It could be you are moving from one place. Kuna issues are fair. We have the issues of rent. We have issues of school fees and the like, and other emerging issues. Once you identify that, let's say for a period of on an annual basis, it could be even on a monthly basis. Once you have identified that, and you know the income that you are generating, then you will be in a position to manage your cash flow. So once you are in that position to manage your cash flow, you as an individual, then it may even reach a situation where you may determine there is no need for me to borrow. But if it's, let's say, for a business, here is an opportunity. You want to expand the sale of the goods or services that you are dealing with. So you can then now plan. You want to expand the business that you are doing. So why can't borrow? So how much can I borrow? Because you are looking at even the opportunities of the services or the goods that you are selling. Because if you are given an opportunity to borrow 5 million, but you are not able to sell the products or services that you are offering, then it means you will be having just a loan which was borrowed, and it ends up being idle kind of. Let me use that.
It's not profitable.
Yeah. So now that is how much can you borrow? Where can I borrow? You are looking at the various loan, that is finance providers. It could be financial institution, and it could be even from friends, or it could be even family members. And you know, if you have an opportunity to borrow from friends or even family members where they are not charging you interest, that is well and good, because you will have propelled your business, and then the finance cost is not there. But now from the former institutions, financial institutions, you have borrowed have determined how much you want to borrow. Where can I borrow? Remember, there are various financial institutions that offer loan products. We can have SACCOs, we can have our banks, we can have even microfinance, we can have even this one known as Shylock. You know, that is still an institution that offers for individuals offering finance.
What do you think about Shylock?
Yeah,
we'll get to that, right?
Yeah. So now you have the entire space where you can borrow. Then you say, let me borrow. Of course, you will borrow at a place where finance cost is less than the other one. Because if you can borrow, let's say, at a rate of 3%, as opposed to, let's say, 15%, then you better go for the 3%. That is now, where can I borrow and how much? And now the issues of repayment. If repayment period, is it a period of 1 year, a period of 3 years, and versus, you know, if we are given an opportunity where you can borrow, let's say, for a period of, let's say, 3 years versus 1 year, you know, if 1 year, it means the amount you are repaying on a regular basis. Individuals, or even this mobile banking, for you to sustain that emergency. In the absence of emergency funds.
And you have mentioned that is the financial providers, and one of them being that is the mobile loans, because that is what many people are opting for right now. Na tukiangalia social media, percentage ya mobile loans zimeongezeka ni mingi sana. And what are the dangers that come from with that is the mobile loans and the short-term borrowing? Mobile loans and whatever, you know, as a fund is part of mobile. They are saying you I think they are borrowing at a rate around 3% or something. As was mentioned, I don't know what percentage. So if it's 3%, and here you are borrowing to propel your business, then well and good. But now, if it's an issue of consumption, and this has really impacted negatively people, because you may find yourself you have ability. Can I call it ability? You are able to borrow from, let's say, mobile whatever, so provider A, B, C, D, and the rates are, the amount you can borrow are let's say 20,000, 30,000, and the like. So you have borrowed, and the amount you are expected to repay, let's say, in a period of 1 month. And remember, the borrowing was not planned. The borrowing was basically for consumption, which we had talked about as bad debt. Then you find yourself even in a mess, and some people have even been under depression as a result of that. Because at times you may find some institutions or even individuals having a forced actions against you, requiring you to repay the amount you had borrowed from a financial institution, and they are now coming for what you had put as collateral or security, because of the accumulated debts that you have accumulated. And remember, when you fail to pay within a period, you may find the interest rate, the amount is accumulating, so that you find yourself you had borrowed, let's say, 30,000, but at the end of it all, the amount will have accumulated to 60,000. And we thank the relevant institutions for setting the maximum to be not more than 100% of what you borrowed. Remember, if you borrow, let's say, 30,000, the match they can go is to a period of to an amount of 60,000, as opposed to what was there before. Before, the amount could accumulate in as long as it remains outstanding. So that you had borrowed 30,000, but you end up even paying let's say 500,000 because it accumulated. But we thank institutions that are government basically for putting a limit to not more than 100% of what you borrowed. Yeah. And let's talk about as well, still on the same note, that is lifestyle inflation. And how does it push people into borrowing debts, especially the young people?
Yeah. I can say for that, Angela, it's basically peer pressure, where you are influenced to you are forced kind of to live beyond your means. Because if it's an issue, I think, and we have used severally the issue of a phone. You find somebody buying a mobile phone, a young person buying a gadget, because he or she has been influenced by his friend, but he or she is not able to acquire based on resources, and now forced to borrow. It could be from friends, or even these mobile loans, or even from other areas, institutions that are able to advance loan to those people. Here is somebody who is borrowing to buy, let's say, an iPhone of, let's say, 170,000, but he or she doesn't have that ability of making a repayment. Alternatives he or she expected may not be coming in the manner he was thinking. So we find somebody being depressed kind of, and some of the mental cases that have been reported, some of it are financial issues, and the financial issues we are looking out on at the aspect of even these borrowings without planning. So in short, Angela, at the end of it, when we talk of the debt or those borrowings, you are looking at you want to borrow, what I am acquiring, how is it generating income, or how is it assisting me in repaying the amount that I borrowed. Failure to which, if you are not able to answer that question, then it means you will end up even being depressed as an individual. For country, even I think even Kenya, it reaches an extent where you can file for bankruptcy. Yeah. You know, bankruptcy arises in you become insolvent. That is deniakoni, more than the assets that you have. So you are now forced to, you can even take yourself to a court of law to be declared bankrupt. Once you are declared bankrupt, then all the assets you have will be taken over, sold, and discharge the liabilities, and you start life afresh.
So for the fellow Kenyans, they can consider that. So it's not easy. It might lead someone to depression. Right. And let's talk about that is the path now to financial freedom, after people have really understood what is the meaning of debt. And probably now someone feels like, oh my God, Kumbe, I'm really overwhelmed with debt. So if someone is overwhelmed with debt right now, what is the first thing that they should do?
Thank you, Angela. Basically, you know, you start now doing a stock of yourself. Now looking at the level you are in terms of all those debts that are owing. There is a guy who was talking about the debts he had borrowed from 86 sources. Some individuals, some even child, some even financial institutions. Mtu moja anadaiwa na watu 86.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. So once now you are in that situation and you want to get yourself out of that trap, you know, now you need to list down, identify all those creditors, or even the lenders you borrowed. Do the calculation. You know, once you have identified, then now you can deal with them on an individual. If some of them have friends, then probably you can talk to them. This amount I'll repay, but give me time. Those which you are not able to negotiate, then now you are expected to now deal with them. But again, unfortunately, Angela, that is on an individual basis. And what we normally do when we are helping our clients and even the individuals, we first of all identify the actual situation in which that person is. Also, it becomes we solve it on an individual basis. We look at this person has borrowed from several resources. This person, in terms of capacity, is he or she able to generate extra incomes? Is this person having, let's say, an asset that can be sold for the purpose of discharging some of the liabilities? And we have talked about our financial freedom, and you know, financial freedom, especially on an individual basis, it means now you are living within your means, and even you have extra for the emergencies, and that is a process, where first of all you identify your needs. You do the budgeting. Now you are looking at the inflows and your outflows, the incomes that you are receiving, and now the outflows that you are paying, and then you live within that means. If the expenses are rising higher than the income, then it means now you are moving towards a financial non-freedom kind of, and you may now have to look for alternatives of enhancing your income for the purpose of you sustaining. At times you may now have to look at yourself in terms of even if you are, let's say you are renting a house, look at how much you are paying. Are you able to scale down for the purpose of if it's an issue of managing your debt, that it has led to a scale where you are not able, then scaling down even on some of the expenditures, like issues to do with rent. You may be forced, if you have been using, let's say, your vehicle to travel to work, it reaches an extent where now you reduce the incidences and even use the public means, because you are in the process of managing the debt that has taken you to a higher level. But for individuals, let's say you are starting afresh, especially for a person entering into employment, it's recommended they live within their means. Issues to do with peer pressure should be done away with, and then you do the budget. Basically manage your finance in terms of identifying your needs, identifying your sources of income. It could be on an annual basis where you do a budget of all those needs, and and I appreciate that you are doing a good work in terms of financial money Monday. I've seen you talk about issues to do with budgeting. Budgeting, you want to manage your inflows and outflows, and that is a very important component in especially for an individual, even for an individual, besides institutions or corporates or companies, where now you want to identify your sources of income and now the expenses that you are incurring for your day to day. Once you have that, then Angela, because Angela, if you have identified your expenses, let's say it's 100,000, and Apple make a school fees, rent, and the like, then moving beyond this and this amount that you have identified in the budget, it means you will be living beyond your means if the income still remain the way it was.
All right, that is really wise, and I believe for our viewers, you have learned a lot when it comes to that, especially that aspect ya management. Nakaa chini ujiangalie sana, ujiulize, am I having good diet, am I having bad diet, uko pande gani? And on this part yenye tumeambiwa how you can deal with that is matters to do with debt. If you're overwhelmed with debt, the trajectory that you've been given, the advice that you've been given, it's really wise, so make sure that you apply it practically. Thank you so much for availing yourself for the show. We have really learned a lot, and we're looking forward to having you more and more. And as we wind up, to that person who is interested in financial consulting or financial services, atakupata wapi? You can share the details.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. Basically, as you mentioned at the beginning, I'm from Born and Drew. Born and Drew Associates and Audit Company. We have a head office in Nairobi and Westland. We have a branch here in Nakuru, Kericho, Kisumu, and Mombasa. So in Nakuru, we are situated at Kitur House, first floor.
Okay.
Born and Drew.
Thank you so much for availing yourself. We're looking forward to having you more. For our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in for this segment. That is Money Monday, your go-to show for financial tips and great insights on how you can become a great entrepreneur. And for the day-to-day people, will help you become financially independent in the future. My name is Angela Kavete. Till next time, have a productive day ahead. Bye-bye.